That like it's a bad thing, said Hermione in a slightly hurt voice. The sun had now begun to shine weakly on Hogwarts again. Inside the castle, the mood had grown more hopeful. There had been no more attacks since those on Justin and nearly Headless Nick, and Madame Pomfrey was pleased to report that the mandrakes had become moody and secretive, meaning they were past leaving childhood. The moment their acting clears up, they'll be ready for boycotting again, Harry heard her telling Phil kindly one afternoon. After that, it won't be long until the couple of months of stewing will have the Norris back in no time. Perhaps the heiress liver has lost his or her nerve, thought Harry. It must be getting riskier and riskier though. Which of Harris went to school so alert and suspicious? Perhaps the monster. Whoever it was, he even announced himself now with heavily running for years. And didn't think he was still convinced that Harry was guilty. Then he had given himself away. He was popping up and horrible singer. Oh, Potter, you rotter. Now, dance routine the match. Gilderoy Lockhart secretly he himself made the attack stop. Harry overheard it and pressing on it also, while the group was running up consideration. I don't think there will be any more trouble, however, he said, tapping his nose knowingly. I think he read in lots with good this time. I'll rip on the note. It was only a matter of time before I called. Rather sensible to stop now, before I come down hard on you. You know what the school needs now? It's a morale booster. Wash away the memories of last term. I won't say any more just now, but I think I know just the thing. He tapped his nose again and strode on. Lockhart's idea of a morale booster became clear at breakfast time, February 14th. Harry hadn't had much sleep, so the late running with the captain the night before, and he hurried down to the great hall slightly late. He thought for a moment that he had walked through the doors. All covered in large blue and pink flowers. Worse still, heart-shaped bell was holding up the bell on the table where Ron was sitting, and Hermione seemed to have come over for giggling. What's going on? Harry asked, sitting down and wiping plenty of the baby. Ron said interested. Apparently she was disgusting to speak. Lockhart, wearing a red pink rose and decorations, was waving in silence. The teachers on either side of him were looking stony faced. Where he sat, Harry could see a muscle going in the rest of the bridge. The stage was a close one, expecting like people of skelly folk. Happy Valentine's Day got much out of it. And they had thankful that 46 people walked so far 70 cars. Yes, and taken the liberty of the great hall which was surprised to you all. It doesn't end here. Lockhart clapped his hands and threw the doors to the entrance hall, after a dozen surely looking doors. Lockhart had them all wearing golden wigs and carrying arms. My friendly card-carrying pupils, they will be roving around the school today delivering your Valentines. And the fun doesn't stop here. I'm sure my colleagues will want to enter into the spirit of the occasion. Why not ask Professor Snape to show you how to whip up a love potion? Walk around the ring, Professor Flitwick, and casting the charm he was never met in the sly of a dog. Professor Flitwick buried his face in his hands. Snape was looking as though the first person to ask him for a love potion or Snape was. Please, tell me you weren't here. 6, said Ron, as they left the great hall for their first lesson. Hermione suddenly became very interested in setting her bag, time to answer. All day long, the walks in the park, large, their castles, and Valentines to the annoyance of the and late that afternoon, as the Gryffindors were walking upstairs for charms, one of them caught up with Harry. Oi, you, Harry Potter! Captain looked particularly grim looking warm, elbowing his right away to get down. What's below? Ought to be given a Valentine to Robert Hugh first years, which happened to Jim Weasley. Harry tried to escape. The tall one, racing through the ground, kicking him chin to reach him, got 2 paces. I've got a useful message to deliver to Harry Potter in person, he said, twining his heart in a threatening sort of way. Not here, Harry was trying to escape. Stay still, running for the Harry bag and putting it back. Let me go, Harry snarled to him. For a loud rip noise, the bag split in two. He books, wand, parchment, and book spilled onto the floor, and his ink bottle smashed over the lot. Harry scrambled around, trying to pick it up before the floor started to sink. All the time from a hole in the corridor. What's going on here? Came the cold, roaring voice of Gregor Malfoy. Harry started stuffing him completely with his back. Then waved Malfoy again, using the mouth. What's all this commotion? Said the voice, as Percy easily arose. Losing his head, Harry tried to run for it. The dwarf seized him around the knee and brought him crashing to the floor. Right, he said, as he held Harry's ankles. Here is your singing Valentine. His eyes are as green as a fresh pickled toad. His hair is as dark as the blackboard. I wish he was mine. He's really divine. She wrote, with the Dark Lord, Harry would have given all the gold in Gringotts to evaporate on the spot, trying valiantly to laugh along with everyone else. He got up, and speaking numbly, pointed to the door. Percy meeting him, then dispersed the crowd. Some of them were crying. Off you go, off you go. The bell rang 5 minutes ago. Off you go to class now, he said, showing some of the other students away. And you. Harry glancing over, saw Malfoy stoop and snatch up something. Leering, he showed it to him in blue. Harry, really, whose diary? Give that back, finally. Wonder what must be this? Then Malfoy, obviously having noticed the year on the cover, looking at Harry's own diary. A harsh fellow looked on his house. Ginny was staring at the diary. Terrified. Hand it over, Malfoy, said Percy sternly. When I've had a look, Malfoy waved the diary tauntingly at Harry. Percy said, as a school prefect, that Harry had lost his temper. He pulled out his wand and shouted, Expelliarmus! And just as Snape had disarmed Lockhart, so Malfoy found the diary shooting out his hand into the air. Ron,
a friggin' wise guy!
Harry, said Percy loudly. No, I have to report this, you know. Harry didn't care. He got one over on Malfoy. And that was worth 5 points for any day. Malfoy was looking furious, and Ginny passed him and enter her classroom. He yelled spitefully at Malfoy, I don't like your Valentine much. Ginny covered her face with her hands, and class smiling. Ron dabbed his hand too, and Harry pulled it away. What do you mean he spent the whole time on Belgian slums? It wasn't until they reached Professor Flitwick's class that Harry noticed something rather odd in his diary. Other things, friendly and smiling at him. The diary was as clean as it had been with an ink and smashed all over. He tried to point this out to Ron, but Ron was having trouble with one. Large purple bubbles blossoming out of the air. There wasn't much interest else. Harry went to bed before anyone else in his dorm. This was partially because he didn't think he could stand for George singing. His eyes are as green as a fresh pickled toad. One more time. Partially because he wanted to examine Riddle's diary again, and knew that Ron could use the whole time. Harry sat on the school poster, flicked through the blue pages. One of them printed Scarlet and Connie, and he pulled a new bottle out of his bedside table. It was cool. Dr. Block, the first page of the diary. It shone brightly on the page for a second. Then, as though it was being sucked into the page, vanished. Excited, Harry looked up at the book a second time. My name is Harry Potter. The word shot momentarily on the page, and they too sank on the tracks. Then, at last, oozing back out into the page, his very own ink, came words Harry had never written. Hello, Harry Potter. My name is Tom Riddle. How did you come by my diary? These words too faded away, not before Harry had started to scribble back. Someone tried to flush it down the toilet. He waited eagerly for Riddle's reply. Like your diary put in my memories and so you were last week waiting for him. But I always knew there would be those. What do you mean? Well, the age was in silence. I mean that your diary would remember terrible things. Things would be coming up. Things which happened before school was probably visible. That's where I am now, Harry wrote quickly. I'm at Hogwarts and horrible stuff's been happening. You know anything about the Chamber of Secrets? His heart was hammering. Riddle's reply came quickly. His writing became untidier, as though he was hurrying to tell all he knew. Of course I know about the Chamber of Secrets. In my day, they told us it was a legend, that it did not exist. But this was a lie. If I think it did, the chamber was open, and the monster attacked several students, finally killing them. I thought the person who opened the chamber was expelled, but then part of the professor did it. Ashamed that such a thing had happened at Hogwarts. Made me free. The story will be developed. Gail had died in a bridge accident. They gave me a nice, shiny engraved trophy for my trouble. I told me to keep my mouth shut. I knew it would happen again. The monster lived on, and the one who had the power to release it was not in prison. Harry nearly upset his ink bottle in his hurry to write back. It's happening again now. There have been 3 attacks and no one seems to know who's behind them. What was it last time? I can show you if you like. But you don't have to take my word for it. I can take you inside my memory and not important. Harry hesitated. His voice suspended over the diary. What did it mean? How could he be taken inside somebody else's memory? Glass never seen the thoughts of dawn. Growing dumb. When he looked back at the diary, he saw fresh words forming. Let me show you. Harry paused for a fractional second and then wrote 2 letters. Okay. Pages in the diary began to fly, and so caught in a high wind, stopped halfway through the chin. How open. Harry thought that the little square picture of 13 seemed to have turned into a minuscule telephone screen. His hands trembling slightly. He raised the book and pressed his eyelids up to the window. Before he knew what had happened, he still felt forwards. The window was wide open. He felt his body leaping there. Head first, open, pale, into a world of colour and shadow. He felt his feet on solid ground and stood shaking as the blurred shapes around him became suddenly into focus. This circular room was a sleeping portrait of Dumbledore's office. It wasn't Dumbledore who was sitting on the desk. A wizened, frail-looking wizard, bald except for a few wisps of white hair, was reading a letter by candlelight. Harry had never seen his man. I'm sorry, is it true? I didn't mean to. But the wizard looked up, speaking to his reading counting slightly. Harry drew nearer to the desk and hammered, I'll just go, shall I? Still, the instinct never heard it. Thinking the wizard might be dead, Harry raised his voice. Sorry I disturbed you. I'll go now. I shouted. The wizard folded up the letter with a sigh, stood up, walked past Harry without laughing, and went toward the curtains of the window. The sky outside the window was really grim. It seemed to be sunset. The wizard went back to the desk and sat down to cool his heart. Watching the door, Harry looked around the office. No thoughts of feelings, no worrying silver or contraptions. This was Hogwarts' original land, meaning that this unknown wizard was headmaster, not Dumbledore, and he, Harry, a little boy, phantom, maybe invisible. He is not
Just a break, idiot.
to be a wizard, people would and when you're about 16, they felt the silver prefect that was permitted to kill. It was much taller than that. But he, too, jet black hair, arm, riddle, Stevie, press Nibbit, said Riddle. He looked down. Sit down, said Nibbit. I've just been reading a letter you sent me. Oh, said Riddle. He sat down, gripping his hands together very tightly. My dear boy, said Riddle, I cannot possibly let you stay at school for the summer. Surely you want to go home for the holidays. No, said Riddle at once. I'd much rather stay at Hogwarts and go back to that. You live in a Muggle walking during the holidays, I believe, said Nibbit curiously. Yes, sir, said Riddle, reddening slightly. You are Muggle born? Half blood, sir, said Riddle. Muggle father, witch mother, and both your parents. My mother died just after I was born, sir. They told me at the orphanage she lived just long enough to name Tom after my father, although it was my grandfather. The thing is, Tom, sighed, special arrangements might have been made. In the current circumstances, you always been at the same temple. Harry's heart leapt. He was closer, scared of missing anything. Precisely said that master. My dear boy, you must see how foolish it would be to allow you to remain in the castle and to have ends. Particularly polite advocate the definite order to go. You'll be safer by far and will live. As a matter of fact, if you imagine even now talking about the rest of the school, we are no nearer locating the source of all this unpleasant. Riddle's eyes widened. So, if the person was caught, if it all stopped, what do you mean? Said Dibbit, with a squeak in his voice, sitting up in his chair. Riddle, do you mean you know something about these attacks? No, sir, said Riddle quickly. Harry was sure it was the same sort of note that he himself, Jim Dumbledore. Tibbet sank back, looking faintly disappointed. You may go, Tom. Riddle slid off his chair and stumped out of the room. Harry followed him. Down the moving spiral staircase, emerging into the large dark corridor. Riddle stopped, and so did Harry, watching. Harry could tell the mysterious thinking. He was biting his lip, his thought forehead. Then, as though he had suddenly reached a decision, he hurried on. Harry glided noiselessly behind him. They didn't see another person until they reached the entrance hall, when a tall wizard with long, sweeping auburn hair and beard called to Riddle from the marble staircase. What are you doing wandering around this late, Tom? Harry gave towards him. Hung on, looking up at the door. I haven't seen my master, sir, said Riddle. Well, hurry up to bed, said Dumbledore, giving Riddle exactly the kind of penetrating stare Harry knew so well. Best not to roam the corridors these days. Not since, inside heaven, made them good luck. Riddle watched sight, and then, very quickly, he straight down the stone steps to the dungeons, with Harry in hot pursuit. But to Harry's disappointment, Riddle led him not into the hidden passageway, or the secret tunnel, but the very dungeon in which Harry had motionless stayed, its switches out the way. When his arm was closed, Harry could only just see him standing stock still by the door, sight. They felt to Harry that they were there for at least an hour. Looking at the ceiling, they found Riddle, staring at the waiting for the statue. Just when Harry had stopped feeling expectant and tense, he started pushing back to the present. He heard something move. Something that he heard whoever it was pass a dungeon and Riddle with him. Riddle looked right at the shadow, edged through the door and followed. Harry kept going behind him, forgetting that he couldn't be heard. For perhaps 5 minutes they followed the footsteps until Riddle stopped suddenly, his head inclined in the direction of new noises. Harry heard a door creak open, and then someone speak in a hoarse whisper. "Come on, we've got to get you out of here. Come on now, in the box." There was something familiar about that wood. Riddle suddenly jumped around the corner. Harry stepped out behind him. He could see the dark outline. What's going on? Yes. Sharply. He slammed the door shut and stood up. "What you doing down here, Tom?" Riddle stepped closer. "It's all over," he said. "You're going to have to turn your witness. They're talking about closing the door because the attacks don't stop. Actually, I don't think she meant to kill anyone. Monsters don't let humans. I suppose you let it out just for some exercise, and they never kill no one," said the large boy, backing against the closed door. From behind him, Harry could hear a funny rustling and clicking. "Come on, Rubius," said Riddle, moving yet closer. "The dead girl's parents will be here tomorrow. The least Hogwarts can do is make sure that the thing that killed their daughter is slaughtered. It wasn't him." With echoing in the dark passage, he'd never. Stand aside, said Riddle. Spell lit the corridor, somewhere in the light. The door behind the large boy was open, and such a roar not many could walk on. Out of it, something Harry let out a long, hissing scream. No one could easily hear. Long, low slung, hairy body and with black legs, made with many eyes and razor-sharp pincers, all the raised and torn, but yet it was too late. It bound over, it scuffed away, carrying the corridor into sight. Riddle scrambled to his feet, looking after him, raising his head before he left him. He seized his phone, back down, yelling, "No!" He seemed well, after him,
Get up the
Harry felt himself falling. It was crazy. His poor person, his diary opened his number. All he had time to gain his breath before the door opened in front of him. "There you are," he said. Harry sat up, sweating and shaking. "What's up?" said the other. It was Hagrid once. Hagrid opened the for secret 50 years ago.
Sigue caminando, cabrón.
Yes.
What's up, King?
Harry,
Hey, what's happening?
During that first year of Hogwarts, they tried to raise a dragon in a tiny wooden house, and it had been a long time. Yet, a giant, three-headed dog with bristling buttons.
Excuse me,
If, as a boy, Hagrid heard that the monster was castle. Harry was sure that many men were stolen minutes ago. It probably caused him shame. Monster had been cooped up so long, he thought it deserved a chance to break with new legs. Harry could just imagine 13-year-old Hagrid equally certain Hagrid would never have been killed. Harry half looked at him and out to work with his diary. Again and again. See, Timothy was hardly sick from telling me, sick of the long, circular conversations and long. Maybe it was too much. I mean, it's always been spell until Harry was related to the big Hagrid to stop the Hagrid was kicked out. Otherwise, Hagrid would get the reward. Ron tried a different tack. Riddle does sound like Percy. Who asked him to cross the Hagrid anyway? But the monster had killed someone, Ron, said Hermione. Riddle was going back to some muggle orphanage at both Hogwarts, said Harry. I don't blame him for wanting to stay here. Ron didn't look and said tentatively, You met Hagrid down Nocturne Alley, didn't you, Harry? He was buying Black Beach with slug repellent, said Harry quickly. The three fell silent. After an odd pause, Hermione would not keep the question at all in a hesitant voice. Do you think we should go and ask Hagrid all about it? That'd be a cheerful visit, said Ron. Hello, Hagrid. Hello, have you been setting up a plan for Harry Goose in the castle lately? In the end, they decided that they wouldn't say anything unless there was no attack. And 4 days went by with no whisper of a disembodied voice. They became certain that they would never need to talk about why he had been expelled. It was now nearly 4 months since Justin and the Embers Nick had arrived, and nearly everyone seemed to think that the attacker, whoever it was tired of it. Means finally got bored and both got to university school. And asked Harry why the wife was passing lucky postals in mythology. And in March, several of the mandrakes threw a loud and ferocious party at Greenhouse Spring. This made Professor Sprout very happy. The moment they started
Yo, easy, brother! Yo, why you knocking the shit?
The second year we given some predictable during their next operating. The atomic club to choose their subjects for the third year, and after that, Hermione took very seriously. It did affect our whole future, as they poured over a list of new subjects, on things. I just want to give up promotions, said Harry. We can't take on the belief that we keep all our old subjects, we're under difficulties against Star Cards. But that's very important, said Hermione shocked. On the way along, it was a Ron, have a nightmare. Had been sent letters from all the witches and wizards in his family, all giving him different advice on what to choose. Confused and worried, he sat reading the subject. Asking him to work since I'm important, he studied ancient rules. These comments were like Harry. For a couple of months, he ended up posting his eyes to the chapter important things. Then, the subject behind him. Reminded him that he was signed up for it. Harry's mind readily to himself tried to discuss his career in wizardry. Not that he didn't get any guidance. Percy Weasley was eager to share his experience. It depends where you want to go, he said. It's never too early for the money. I'd recommend ep.8. I say focus on the subject. My personal goal is to share the borrow from his family and the whole community. I think you work in close contact with him. Look at my father. He had to deal with muggle business all the time. My brother Charlie was always more of an outlaw type, so he went for care of magical creatures. Play to your strengths, Harry. But the only thing Harry felt he was really good at was Quidditch. In the end, he chose the same new subjects as Ron, feeling that if he was rubbish at them, at least he'd have someone friendly to help him. Gryffindor admitted it was tough, which was consistent with his impacts and like his thing, so that Harry barely had time to help him. However, the grading session was getting better and more his rival. On the evening before Saturday's match, went up to his home for a wedding friendship. James Griffin, Archers, never forget. His cheerful mood passed him, and to this day, looking back. this child, watching Harry did never get away from the door. The Harry cried everything. His coat ripped to the floor. Bedclothes pulled off his all closed on the floor. Down to the center.
Give me a little break here.
Harry put the bedclothes over his mouth, threading it through his pages and his toes. As he endeavored to blanket cut into the bed, Dean's flew around. What happened? No idea. They were almost around. All the pockets were empty. Someone there ain't anything. Harry started to pick up the loose stick and throw them into his trunk. It was only if he could get laughter up on his boots back into it that he realized what was the matter. Really, the diary is gone, said he. What? Harry jerked his head towards the door. They hurried back down to the door. It was hard there. When finally it was to be alone,
Please with yourself.
ancient buildings of medieval. Finding the open guards with the bacon, nobody else knows our password. Exactly. They woke up the next day to the sunshine, light, fresh and breeze. The active room, having written your table, the opening plate of scrambled eggs. Harry up there, eating breakfast. Harry was staring down at the agricultural table, wondering if he opened the diary right in front of his eyes. Hermione had been urging him to report the robbery, but Harry didn't like the idea. He'd have to tell the teacher all about the diary. And how many people knew why Hagrid was expelled 50 years ago? He didn't want to be the one who brought it all up again. As he left the Great Hall, Ron and Hermione to go collect his Quidditch things. Another very serious worry.
Damn, too much moonshine again.
In this video, I am going to show you where to find downtown Cab. Oh shit.
You should be replaced.
You're a walking waste of oxygen.
Where's the reset?
At least I don't know this place. Get out of my way, Cinderella! You looking for something? Don't piss me off, man. Keep moving.
Guess you're the new owner. What are you, mob, cartel? You don't look Mexican. Anyhow, I guess you better get on with the things are gonna change around here crap. Maybe threaten one of the drivers. Go steady on Ted over there. He's just had his hernia fixed.
Well, yeah, things are gonna change around here, lady.
Oh, crap, Sonny. Might as well leave this to me. I've been doing this for years.
Now, here's this. We are now under new management, and things are gonna change around here again. Our new management needs...
Which gang are you?
Well, I'm not part of any gang, actually.
What's your goddamn name, kid?
Versetti. Tommy Versetti.
Our new management, the Massetti gang, is gonna make sure we get no trouble. Capiche? Out.
Did you like the capiche? I like the capiche. So this is how it's worked in the past. We run the firm as usual. If we get any trouble from rival firms, you beat the crap out of them. Then they beat the crap out of us. Then you beat the crap out of them, etc., etc. You got it?
Yeah, I guess.
Just grab a taxi from the garage if you feel like jumping in.
40,000. Down the shitter.
You're gonna make me freak! Taxi!
guess you're the new owner. What are you, mob, cartel? You don't look Mexican. Anyhow, I guess you better get on with the things are gonna change around here crap. Maybe threaten one of the drivers. Go steady on Ted over there. He's just had his podium.
Well, yeah, things are gonna change around here, lady.
Oh, crap, Sonny.
Yeah, I figured it might if it's got a cutscene.
I've
Okay.
been doing this for years.
Now here's this. We are now under new management and things are gonna change around here again. Our new management needs...
Which gang are you?
Well, I'm not part of any gang, actually.
What's your goddamn name, kid?
Versetti. Tommy Versetti.
Our new management, the Massetti gang, is gonna make sure we get no trouble. Capiche?
Did you like the capiche? I like the capiche. So this is how it's worked in the past. We run the firm as usual. If we get any trouble from rival firms, you beat the crap out of them. Then they beat the crap out of us. Then you beat the crap out of them, etc., etc. You got it?
Yeah, I guess.
Just grab a taxi from the garage if you feel like jumping in.
No, thanks. I did my part for the taxis. Okay, so that's 40K. I think we're up to like 3 or 4 properties now, so that's pretty sweet. Again, for the achievement, we need 5 or 10 anyway, so... Oh, I actually have to do these as part of the mission. I see. Okay.
Forget about it, Mario. What's going on?
Okay, we got a high-class fare needs picking up from Starfish Island. Any takers?
Tommy here, I'll take it.
Thanks for standing in the motherfucking earth.
Pieces every day, man. Move.
This ain't fair.
Stop. I really need to watch my phone.
This is my fare. Back off, asshole.
You can't move. You've got a break, right? Come on, Lincoln. Get out of my way, You're an idiot, boy. You hit my damn cab, you idiot. Hey, boy, asshole, what happened? You even know how to drive?
My, what a place.
That's not driving. Moron!
Come on, get in, quick. Okay, just please, don't hurt me.
Nueva de idiota. You must be the stupidest looking fella I ever did see.
Harry was added to Harry's growing list. He just said little marks there.
Move that piece of shit off the front porch.
Then he ripped, tear, shouted aloud, and run in the mind where
You blocking up traffic. I told you to move out of the way. Get out of the way. Coming out shooting. Somebody, call the cops. Yo, you in my way, dog.
Calling all cars. We're losing fares all over town. What's with you guys?
The VC cabs keep beating us to it. They just got too many cars. We can't compete.
Mr. Vassetti, if you're out there listening in, you want to put the VC cabs out of action before we go bust.
Oh, everyone.
Get away.
Get out of the way! Come on, on to the top. Better understand.
Hey, man, you get down. Watch it, pal.
Is this supposed to start?
Hey, man, that's not a fun. Never catch me on the way.
Try to annoy me.
Move that. Don't push it.
Car 13, we got
got a missed car test asked for you especially.
Okay, I got it. Car 13, out.
Yo, you in my way, dog. Melody Mia. You will feel my wrath. Yo, get out. Listen. Yo, my man, you coming? Move that.
No sign of Mercedes.
We got a missed car test asked for you especially.
Move that piece of shit off the front wall. Move that.
No sign of Mercedes.
time for Kaufman's Cab's guardian angel to eat some fender.
Don't make me use this. What did you expect?
As Dumbledore has failed to stop these attacks. Now look, Lucius, if Dumbledore can't stop them, said Fudge, whose upper lip was sweating now, I mean to say, who can? That remains to be seen, said Mr. Malfoy when Arthur smiled.
That was a little too close!
I regret to speak. Dear, dear, know that never will lead you to trouble one of these days, Hagrid, said Mr. Malfoy. Otherwise, take him away.
Get out of the way! You're my man, you
Shall we step aside? But very slowly and clearly said N as a word. Quiet. A school. For a second, I was almost sure Dumbledore's eyes different.
I want George
Tomorrow you'll be laughing about this.
Taxi! Gabby, yo!
Yep.
Taxi, stop.
What are you?
You're away from me!
Steady. Every other week. Look.
Damn you, pretty boy.
Bring that chariot over here.
Fuck again? Not there, cigar.
Good thing I don't bother with slobs.
That was annoying right there.
Yo, Kevin, sorry for the stop. I'm not guilty. Hey, you, taxi, stop. Cabby, yo!
It's head down the blade.
Are you a stupid?
Do you think that's funny? Pick me up! Pick up the smelly old bird!
So that
You nearly hit me! Can I get a freaking taxi around here or what?
That's a long hairy leg. The front clutch leg. Spider the size of an elephant very slowly.
Taxi! Taxi!
old swept before. I, said Arago, clicking angrily. Okay.
Taxi!
Cat.
Get off the sidewalk, man! Watch it going there! Get out of my way! Taxi! Taxi! Hey, Bowser!
Insane behavior.
Why'd you do that? Really, just totally underneath the car. I got a kid. You good or you just an idiot?
One seat before. It's right up the slope, out of the hut. Hollow, and it was soon crashing through the forest. Right, this gap with a pond against the door. Harry looked sideways. To speak. It's much better than the other. See, and Harry saw them. Stand. What would you get? Harry went back into his cabin. Yeah, he was trembling under a blanket from the basket. And Harry ran inside. more arrogant than our friend to be, said Harry. That's exactly the French problem, said Ron. We always think
Bring that
as
chariot
he
over
may now.
here.
And look where it got them. 7
Get
minutes
off the road, old
he was
man!
shivering. All the time to stay myself. Well, we found out I got to know. Secrets. That's a good thing. Very quick to make sure that then motion goes on. And I have to go slow. Motion and breath. That's a word. I love it. Thank you. See what else they could do. They had hit dead ends. Harris lived with the top. No one could tell whether it was the same person or a different one. Whoever the twins. There was no evil. Very late that night, still thinking. Inside. What's that? Very late. Cut. Suddenly sat well done. Stand wildly around us. She was at she's still there. Chapter 16. Child Secrets. She was just there. Escaping that future to sneak into the see what's going on. There's something happening. What's less?
We'll get through this one.
That's what we'll start last in June. Exams. Getting exams. Managing late each desk. First I've got to go to school with people it's the utility of your education, he said sternly. Exams, therefore, take place as usual. Great deal which may be a scandal.
Don't try to
seem to make better. I'm hopeful this dreadful year will end with a new you. Those who spoke here, frozen over the limit. Some full surprises in a Draco Mountain.
Taxi!
One was looking early, late, ate a man, he said that, and the others would wake her up, let you, she'll go back, down, she asked for why. I listen,
Well, people...
what's up? Scared look. Look, it's been a while, so it's up to real. But you walk back to the wall, it's like, yeah, and like it. Information. Let's tell you something. You can't be here. What is it? Jimmy. No sound here. Really cool. It's all like something that's crazy. It's neat. So Jimmy sounds good. That's the way to get it. If you finish the stop it. I just stop the control. Ginny jumped in, so the chair and gave us the ability to right to look.
Oye, taxi, soy veterano.
The table. Percy, so the right really. You were just about to tell us something important. Not very important. Just after. If she'd seen it before, she'd probably say, oh,
Anyone vote? Really, how long have we been at this? An hour and 26 minutes.
What's the shit with this? You got room for a fatty!
Move it around.
Can you smell me?
Real smart.
God damn it. Two stars? I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. Nope, we ran over a cop. We're going to jail.
Hey, Mo! Ah! Whoa there!
You're dead.
Take my breath away. Sumimasen! Taxi!
Dude, get the fuck out of my goddamn way. If we can get to 30, I'll be happy. Then we'll go collect our money.
Taxi! Taxi! Taxi!
$8,000 bonus.
We shall have to send all the students home tomorrow, so please.
Basically, $14,000. And now the cops are gonna beat me to this.
Where the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets is. But a lot of yes, didn't you tell me? I'm sure you decided.
You want me to give you the sunlight spot, asshole? Hey, boys, I don't like guys in uniform.
I'll be in the office. Get me ready.
Come here to fight!
What do you think? State of control.
Nope.
Out of the way, Carabina!
That's 5,000.
What's your wife doing?
All that's because that stupid cop couldn't stop standing in the fucking road. 40,000. $40,000. 2,000. That's it? That's all that shit gives me?
Save your breath. Give up.
Damn, that cop was a good shot. He hit both fucking tires. That cop was a great goddamn shot. He took out both fucking tires. There ain't no way to fucking run. Hang on. Saving grace.
Yo, you in my way, dog. Move that piece of shit. The crap out of you, man. This is
Better
my Vice City,
understand
and
how
I
to
own
treat a
every stop
lady,
here.
huh?
Lucy, and let me hook you up with some fine pussy. Not make me lose my cool.
It's a pity you're so dirty. I got the real nitty gritty.
go, bro. You better be chilling.
Yo, get out the way! Pull that piece of shit out the crosswalk!
No one remembers more than you. You're the fanciest and hard not to be
I want to hear you scream.
Hey yo, move! You in the way!
Memory charm, so they wouldn't remember doing it. If there's one thing I pride myself on, it's my memory charms. No, it's been a lot of work. It's not true, so
What's happening here?
of the end toilet. Oh, it's you, she said when she saw Harry. What do you want this time? To ask how you died, said Harry. Myrtle's whole aspect changed at once. She looked as though she had never been asked such a flattering question.
What's wrong with you?
Pointing vaguely towards the sink in front of her toilet. Everyone hurried over to it. Look, I was standing well back. Copper pipes or the tiny snake. That tap's never worked, said Myrtle brightly, as he tried to turn it. Harry, said Ron, say something. Say something impossible.
Yo, you in my way, dog!
Snake. He's dead hard. And brave. This way.
Oye, no me dejes.
$16.
Which twisted and turned, sloping steep
So there's that one. There's that one. I think this one's like 120.
way away, covered in slime, and white as a ghost. Harry stood aside as Ron came whizzing out the pipe too. We must be miles under the school, said Harry, his voice echoing in the black tunnel. Under the lake, probably, said Ron, squinting around at the dark, slimy walls. All three of them turned to stare into the darkness ahead. And off they went, their footsteps slapping loudly on the floor. The tunnel was so dark that they could only see a little distance ahead. Their shadows were
That guy must be crazy.
remember.
You're gonna need a hug.
This is like
But the tunnel was quiet and gray. First, the flickering sound they heard was a large cry. The step of the turned out.
you're walking.
Stop.
Future. I've had this car for 20 years.
Very hard. Dark bench. What's happening there? They froze.
Damn. Watch where you put your loafers, asshole. You got a death wish.
Harry turned back and looked at him. His heart beating so
What are you
fast.
doing?
Very
Yeah,
slow.
okay, pretty boy.
This is how you want it.
Diminish the human race. Abduct Cap and dump you. You dickhead.
Like I need
Come on, dickhead.
what you doing?
Move that piece. I'm the headless.
Excuse me.
Leave me alone. Crazy, man. This is like my oficina. Kill you, man.
I'll go on.
You're a waste of space.
So you can
Taxi.
see in a bit. Shaking voice. Excel.
Hey, Mom, what do you want to take?
Chapter 17.
Taxi, excuse me. Did you forget your timing?
My heart beats fast, fast. I need you by myself. Every time my heart beats fast, I want to man. Get my fucking way.
For a sec,
It was your fault.
Fine, man.
Watch your corner there.
Taxi!
Get out of the way.
¿Qué lloras? Es terrible, man.
I do nothing.
Not so bad. Cabby, over here.
Yes, boy. Look at the boat. Help, taxi! Uncle Beach here.
Such a pit, Harry felt it vibrating inside his own ribs. Flames erupted at the top of the pit.
B.J. Smith. And you must be Mr. Rossetti. Would you like the tour?
Might as well.
Well, I'm very sad to be selling the dealership to y'all. This is my first investment after I turned pro. But now, it's time for me to move on.
You're leaving town. Not in too much of a hurry, I hope.
No, I'm just coming out of retirement and preparing for my future comeback. The business wasn't too strong, and my staff took it upon themselves to get a bit more creative with the generational wealth. Obviously, I could wind down the business before handing it over. Hell, I could burn the place down if I wanted to. This is prime development land.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about any of that. This place seems perfect.
Yeah, it does. So I take it we have a deal.
I saw you last year. You're a wreck. You're barely alive. That's where all your power got you. You're hiding. You're ugly. You're fake. So, to save you. Yes, that's a power. I can see it. There are not perfect you are. I wonder. Fear spreading up his numb legs, watched Riddle stop between the high pillars and looked into the stone face of Slytherin. High above him, in the half-darkness, Riddle opened his mouth wide and hissed, but Harry understood what he was saying. Speak to me, Slytherin. Greatest of the Hogwarts Four. Harry wheeled around to look over the statue, Fawkes swaying on his shoulder. Slytherin's gigantic stone face was moving. Horror-struck, Harry saw his mouth opening wider and wider to make a huge black hole, and something was stirring inside the statue's mouth. Something was slithering up from the depths. Harry backed away from the dark chamber wall, and as he shut his eyes tight, he felt Fawkes' wing sweeping his cheek as it took flight. Harry wanted to shout, "Don't leave me," but what chance did the Phoenix have against King of Serpents? Something huge hit the stone floor in the chamber. Harry felt it shudder. He knew what was happening. He could sense it. He could almost see the giant serpent uncoiling himself from Slytherin's mouth. Then he heard Riddle's hissing voice. "Kill him." The bastards were moving towards Harry. He could hear its heavy movement slithering ponderously across the dusty floor. Eyes still tightly shut, Harry began to run blindly sideways. His eye outstretched, his hands outstretched. Feeling his way, Riddle was laughing. Harry tripped. He fell hard to the stone, tasting blood. The serpent was barely feet from him. He could hear it coming. There was a loud, explosive spitting right above him, and then something heavy hit Harry so hard that he was smashed against the wall. Waiting for fangs to sink through his body, he heard more mad hissing. Something thrashing wildly at the pillars. He couldn't help it. He opened his eyes, wide enough to squint at what was going on. The enormous serpent, bright, poisonous green, thick as an oak trunk, had raised itself high in the air, and its great blunt head was weaving drunkenly between the pillars. As Harry trembled, ready to close his eyes,
How long have we been on here? 2 hours and 18 minutes. Remember how she jumped in front of my car? So I don't have to have everything beat. How much I jumped in? Yay! Hey, it's his own fault for standing there. It's 2,000.
Celandro bastardo! Fuera matar ellos! What should I do about it?
No work and no play. It's making me a very dull boy. No shit.
Hey man, what you doing?
And there's a cop right there. And that's 3,000. You gotta be a pole dancer. Yeah, we gonna have to buy another place. That's $10,000 just made. It's hard work.
Don't drink and drive.
That's not behaving. Anybody say that? Not cool. That was like
What was
totally
that?
rude.
You are intolerable. Crazy, man. This is like my officina.
I wanna be a belly dancer. Oh, put back my book. Let's see, hold on. 1, that's 2, that's 3. No, I'll gladly do the other one. I just need... It's just gonna be a long fucking grind.
His eyes, if it turned, he saw what had distracted the snake. The forks were soaring high above its head, and the basilisk was snapping furiously at it, fangs long and thin as sabers.
You stupid son of a
Fox
bitch!
dived. His long golden beak sank out of sight, and a sudden shower of dark blood splattered the floor. The snake's tail thrashed, narrowly missing Harry. Before Harry could shut his eyes, it turned. Harry looked straight into its face and saw that its eyes, both his great bulbous yellow eyes, had been punctured by the phoenix. Blood was streaming to the floor, and the snake was spitting in agony. "No!" Harry heard Riddle screaming. "Leave the bird! Leave the bird! The boy is behind you! You can still smell him! Kill him!" The blinded serpent swayed, confused, still deadly. Fawkes was circling its head, piping his eerie song, jabbing here and there the basilisk's scaly nose, and the blood poured from its ruined eyes. "Help me! Help me!" Harry muttered widely. "Someone! Anyone!" The snake's tail whipped across the floor again. Harry ducked. Something soft hit his face. The basilisk swept the saucepan handle into Harry's arms. Harry seized it. It was all he had left, his only chance. He rammed it on his head and threw himself flat onto the floor as the basilisk's tail swung over him again. "Help me! Help me!" Harry thought, his eyes screwed tight under the hand. "Please help me!" There was no answering voice. Instead, the hand contracted, as though an invisible hand was squeezing it very tightly. Something very hard and heavy thudded onto the top of Harry's head, almost knocking him out. Stars were winking in front of his eyes. He grabbed the top of the hand and pulled it off, and felt something long and hard beneath it. A gleaming silver sword had appeared inside the hand, its handle glittering with rubies the size of eggs. "Kill the boy! Leave the bird! The boy is behind you! Sniff! Smell him!" Harry was on his feet, ready. The basilisk's head was falling, his body coiling around, hitting pillars as it twisted to face him. He could see the vast, bloodied eye sockets, see the mouth stretching wide enough to swallow him whole, lined with fangs along as his sword, thin, glittering, venomous. It lunged blindly. Harry dodged it, and it hit the chamber wall. It lunged again, and its forked tongue lashed Harry's side. He raised the sword in both of his hands. Basilisk lunged again, and this time its aim was true. Harry threw his whole weight behind the sword and drove it to the hilt, into the roof of the serpent's mouth. But as warm blood drenched Harry's arms, he felt a searing pain just above his elbow. One long poisonous fang was seeping deeper, deeper into his arm, and it splintered as the basilisk keeled over sideways and fell, twitching to the floor. Harry slid down the room, gripped the fang that was spreading poison through his body, and wrenched it out of his arm. But he knew it was too late. White-hot pain was spreading slowly and steadily from the wound. Even as he dropped the fang and watched his own blood soaking his robes, his vision went foggy. The chamber was dissolving into a whirl of dull colour. A patch of scarlet swarmed past, and Harry heard a soft clatter of claws beside him. Fawkes, said Harry thickly. You were brilliant, Fawkes. He felt the bird lay its beautiful head on the spot where the serpent's
I drove him to his ass beaten.
He could hear echoing footsteps. Then a dark shadow moved in front of him. You're dead, Harry Potter, said Riddle's voice above him. Dead. Even Dumbledore's bird knows it. Do you see what he's doing, Potter? He's crying. Harry blinked. Fawkes' head slid in and out of focus. Thick, pearly tears were trickling down the glossy feathers. I'm going to sit here and watch you die, Harry Potter. Take your time. I'm in no hurry. Harry felt drowsy. Everything around him seemed to be spinning. So ends the famous Harry Potter, said Riddle's distant voice. Alone, in the Chamber of Secrets, forsaken by his friends, defeated at last by the Dark Lord, so unwisely challenged. You'll be back with your dear mudblood mother soon, Harry. She brought you 12 years of borrowed time, but Lord Voldemort got you in the end, as you knew he must. If this is dying, thought Harry, it's not so bad. Even the pain was leaving him. But was this dying? Instead of going black, the chamber seemed to be coming back into focus. Harry gave his head a little shake. There was Fawkes, still resting his head on Harry's arm. The pearly patch of tears was shining all around the wound, except there was now no wound. Get away, bird, said Riddle's voice suddenly. Get away from him. I said get away. Harry raised his head. Riddle was pointing Harry's wand at Fawkes. There was a bang, like a gun, and Fawkes took flight again in a whirl of gold and scarlet. Phoenix tears, said Riddle quietly, staring at Harry's arm. Of course. Healing powers. I forgot. He looked into Harry's face. But it makes no difference. In fact, I prefer it this way. Just you and me, Harry Potter. You and me. He raised the wand. Then, in a rush of wind, Fawkes soared back overhead, and something fell into Harry's lap. The diary. For a split second, both Harry and Riddle, wand still raised, stared at it. Then, without thinking, without considering, as though he had meant to do it all along, Harry seized the basilisk fang on the floor next to him and plunged it straight into the heart of the book. There was a long, dreadful, piercing scream. Ink spurted out of the diary in torrents, streaming over Harry's hands, flooding the floor. Riddle was writhing, twisting, screaming and flailing, and then he had gone. Harry's wand fell to the floor with a clatter, and there was silence. Silence except for the steady drip. Drip of ink was still oozing from the diary. The basilisk venom had burned a sizzling hole right through it. Shaking all over, Harry pulled himself up. His head was spinning as though he had just travelled miles by flue powder. Slowly, he gathered together his wand and the sorting cap, and with a huge tug, retrieved the glittering sword from the roof of the basilisk's mouth. Then came a faint moan from the end of the chamber. Ginny was stirring. As Harry hurried towards her, she sat up, and bemused eyes travelled from the huge form of the dead basilisk over Harry in his blood-soaked robes, then to the diary in his hand. She drew a great, shuddering gasp, and tears began to pour down her face. Harry! Oh, Harry! I tried to tell you at breakfast, but I couldn't say it in front of Percy. It was me, Harry. But I swear I didn't mean to. Riddle made me. He took me over and... How did you kill that thing? Where's Riddle? The last thing I remember is him coming out of the diary. It's all right, said Harry, holding up the diary and showing Ginny the fang hole. Riddle's finished. Him and the basilisk. Come on, Ginny, let's get out of here. I'm going to be expelled, Ginny wept, as Harry helped her awkwardly to her feet. I've looked forward to coming to Hogwarts ever since Bill came, and now I'll have to leave, and what will Mum and Dad say? Fawkes was waiting for them, hovering in the chamber entrance. Harry urged Ginny forward. They stepped over the motionless coils of the dead basilisk, through the echoing gloom, and back into the tunnel. Harry heard the stone doors close behind them, with a soft hiss. After a few minutes' progress up the dark tunnel, a distant sound of slowly shifting rock reached Harry's ears. Ron! Harry yelled, speeding up. Ginny's okay! I've got her! He heard Ron give a strangled cheer, and they turned the next bend to see his eager face staring through a sizable gap he had managed to make in the rock bridge. Ginny! Ron thrust an arm through the gap in the rock to pull her through first. You're alive! I don't believe it! What happened? He tried to hug her, but Ginny held him off, sobbing. But you're okay, Ginny, said Ron, beaming at her. It's over now. It's... where did that bird come from? Fawkes had swooped through the gap after Ginny. He's Dumbledore's, said Harry, squeezing through himself. And how come you've got a sword? Said Ron, gaping at the glittering weapon in Harry's hand. I'll explain when we get out of here, said Harry, with a sideways glance at Ginny. But later, Harry said quickly. He didn't think it was a good idea to tell Ron yet, who had been opening the chamber. Not in front of Ginny, anyway. Where's Lockhart? Back there, said Ron, grinning, jerking his head up the tunnel towards the pipe. He's in a bad way. Come to see. Led by Fawkes, whose white scarlet wings emitted a soft golden glow in the darkness, they walked all the way back to the mouth of the pipe. Gilderoy Lockhart was sitting there, humming placidly to himself. His memory's gone, said Ron. The memory charm backfired. Him instead of us. Hasn't got a clue who he is, or where he is, or who we are. I told him to come and wait here. He's a danger to himself. Lockhart peered good-naturedly up at them all. Hello, he said. What sort of place this is, isn't it? Do you live here? No, said Ron, raising his eyebrows at Harry. Harry bent down, looked up at the long dark pipe. Have you thought how we're going to get back up this? He said to Ron. Ron shook his head. But Fawkes the Phoenix had swooped past Harry and was now fluttering in front of him. His beady eyes bright in the dark. He was waving his long golden tail feathers. Harry looked uncertainly at him. He looks like he wants us to grab hold, said Ron, looking perplexed. But you're much too heavy for a bird to pull up there. Fawkes, said Harry, isn't an ordinary bird. He turned quickly to the others. We've got to hold on to each other. Ginny, grab Ron's hand. Professor Lockhart. He means you, said Ron sharply to Lockhart. You hold Ginny's other hand. Harry took the sword and the sorting hat into his belt. Ron took hold of the back of Harry's robes, and Harry reached out and took hold of Fawkes' strangely hot tail feathers. An extraordinary lightness seemed to spread through his whole body.
And there's no way for them to time
They were flying upwards through the pipe. Harry could hear Lockhart dangling below him, saying, Amazing! Amazing, this is just like magic. The chill air was whipping through Harry's hair, and before he had stopped enjoying the ride, it was over. All four of them were hitting the wet floor running back to the bathroom, and as Lockhart straightened his hat, the seat that hid the pipe was sliding back into place. Myrtle goggled at them. You're alive, she said blankly to Harry. There's no need to sound so disappointed, he said grimly, wiping flecks of blood and slime off his glasses. Oh well, I'd just been thinking if you'd died, you'd have been welcome to share my toilet, said Myrtle, blushing silver. Ugh, said Ron, as they left the bathroom for the dark, deserted corridor outside. Harry, I think Myrtle's quite fond of you. You've got competition, Ginny. But tears were still flooding silently down Ginny's face. Where now? Said Ron, with an anxious look at Ginny. Harry pointed. Fawkes was leading the way, glowing golden in the corridor. They strode after him, and moments later found themselves outside Professor McGonagall's office. Harry knocked and pushed the door open. Chapter 18. Dobby's Reward. For a moment there was silence as Harry, Ron, Ginny and Lockhart stood in the doorway, covered in muck and slime, and, in Harry's case, blood. Then there was a scream. Ginny! It was Miss Weasley, who had been sitting crying in front of the fire. She leapt to her feet, closely followed by Mr. Weasley, and both of them flung themselves on their daughter. Harry, however, was looking past them. Professor Dumbledore was standing by the mantelpiece, beaming, next to Professor McGonagall, who was taking great, steadying gasps, clutching her chest. Fawkes went whooshing past Harry's ear and settled on Dumbledore's shoulder. Just as Harry found himself and Ron being swept into Mrs. Weasley's tight embrace. You saved her! You saved her! How did you do it? I think we'd all like to know that, said Professor McGonagall weakly. Miss Weasley let go of Harry, who hesitated for a moment, then walked over to the desk and laid upon it the sorting hat and the ruby-encrusted sword, and what remained of Riddle's diary. Then he started telling them everything. For nearly a quarter of an hour, he spoke into the rapt silence. He told them about hearing a disembodied voice, how Hermione had finally realized that he was hearing a basilisk in the pipes, how he and Ron followed the spiders into the forest, that Aragog had told them where the last victim of the basilisk had died, how he had guessed that only Myrtle had been the victim, and that the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets might be in her bathroom. Very well, Professor McGonagall prompted him as he paused. So you found out where the entrance was, breaking 100 school rules into pieces along the way, I might add. But how on earth did all of you get out of there alive, Potter? So Harry, his voice now growing hoarse from all this talking, told him about Fawkes' timely arrival and about the sorting hat giving him the sword. But then he faltered. He had so far avoided mentioning Riddle's diary, or Ginny. She was standing with her head against Miss Weasley's shoulder, and tears were still coursing silently down her cheeks. What if they expelled them? Harry thought of panic. Riddle's diary didn't work anymore. How could they prove it had been he who had made her do it all? Instinctively, Harry looked at Dumbledore and smiled faintly, the fireplace glancing from his half-moon spectacles. What interests me most, said Dumbledore gently, is how Lord Voldemort managed to enchant Ginny. My sources tell me he is currently in hiding in the forest of Albania. Relief, warm, sweeping, glorious relief, swept over Harry. What's that? Said Mr. Weasley in a stunned voice. You know who? Enchant Ginny. But Ginny hasn't been, has she? It was his diary, said Harry quickly, picking it up and showing it to Dumbledore. Riddle wrote it when he was 16. Dumbledore took the diary from Harry and peered keenly at Harry's long, crooked nose at its burned, soggy pages. Brilliant, he said softly. Of course. He was probably the most brilliant student Hogwarts had ever seen. He turned round to the Weasleys, looking utterly bewildered. Very few people know that Lord Voldemort was once thought to be Riddle. I taught him myself, 50 years ago at Hogwarts. He disappeared after leaving school, travelled far and wide, and sank so deeply into the dark arts, and sought him the very worst of our kind. Underwent so many dangerous and magical transformations that when he resurfaced as Lord Voldemort, he was barely recognizable. Hardly anyone connected with Voldemort was there. He was a clever, handsome boy who was once head boy here. But Ginny, said Miss Weasley, what's our Ginny got to do with him? He's tired, Ginny sobbed. I've been writing it, and he's been writing back all year. Ginny, said Mr. Weasley flabbergasted, haven't I taught you anything? What have I always told you? Never trust anything that can think for itself. If you can't see where it keeps its brain, why didn't you show the diary to me or your mother? A suspicious object like that, it was clearly from the dark magic. I didn't know, sobbed Ginny. I found it inside one of the books. I thought someone had just left it there and forgotten about it. Miss Weasley should go up to the hospital with me straight away. Dumbledore interrupted in a low voice. This has been a terrible ordeal for her. There will be no punishment. Older, wiser wizard than she, having her whipped by Lord Voldemort. He strode over to the door and opened it. Bed rest and perhaps a large, steaming mug of hot chocolate. I always find that cheers me up. He added, twinkling kindly down at her. You'll find that Madame Pomfrey is still awake. She's just given out mandrake juice. I dare say, the basilisk and split Tims will be waking up at any moment. So Hermione's okay, said Ron brightly. There had been no lasting harm done, said Dumbledore. Miss Weasley led Ginny out, and Mr. Weasley followed, still looking deeply shaken. You know, Minerva, Mr. Dumbledore said thoughtfully to Professor McGonagall, I think all this merits a good feast. Might I ask you to go and alert the kitchens? Right, said Professor McGonagall crisply, also moving to the door. I'll leave you to deal with Potter and Weasley, shall I? Certainly, said Dumbledore. She left, and Harry and Ron gazed uncertainly at Dumbledore. What exactly had Professor McGonagall meant? Deal with them? Surely we weren't about to be punished. I seem to remember telling you both that I would have to expel you if you broke any more school rules, said Dumbledore. Ron opened his mouth in horror, which goes to show that the best of us must sometimes eat our words. Dumbledore went on, smiling. You will both receive special awards for services to the school. And, let me see. Yes, I think 200 points apiece for Gryffindor. Ron went brightly pink as Lockhart's Valentine flowers and closed his mouth again. But one of us seems to be keeping mightily quiet about his part in this dangerous adventure, Dumbledore added. Why so modest, little boy? Harry gave a start. He had completely forgotten about Lockhart. He turned and saw that Lockhart was standing in the corner of the room, still wearing a vague smile, when Dumbledore addressed him. Lockhart looked over his shoulder to see who he was talking to. Professor Dumbledore, Ron said quickly.
Dumbass.
Listen, now in the Chamber of Secrets. Professor Lockhart. Am I, Professor? Said Lockhart in mild surprise. Goodness, I expect I was hopeless, was I? He tried to do a memory chart, and the one backfired, Ron explained quietly to Dumbledore. Dear me, said Dumbledore, shaking his head, his long silver moustache quivering. Impaled upon your own sword, you boy. Sword? Said Lockhart dimly. Haven't got a sword. That boy has, though. Pointed to Harry. He'll lend you one. Would you mind taking Professor Lockhart up to the hospital too? Dumbledore said to Ron. I'd like a few more words with Harry. Lockhart ambled out. Ron cast a curious look back at Dumbledore and Harry as he closed the door. Dumbledore crossed to one of the chairs by the fire. Sit down, Harry, he said, and Harry sat, feeling unaccountably nervous. First of all, Harry, I want to thank you, said Dumbledore, eyes twinkling again. You must have shown me great knowledge in the chamber. Nothing but that could have called thoughts to you. He stroked the fingers, which had fluttered down on top of him. Harry grinned awkwardly at Dumbledore. As Dumbledore looked. And so you meant to bring me, said Dumbledore thoughtfully. I imagine he was most interested in you. Suddenly, something that was hanging at Harry came tumbling out of his mouth. Professor Dumbledore, Riddle said he liked him. Strange likenesses, he said. Did he now? Said Dumbledore, looking thoughtfully under his thick silver eyebrows at Harry. What do you think, Harry? I don't think I'm like him, said Harry, more loudly than he intended. I mean, I'm Gryffindor. But he fell silent, a lurking doubt surfacing in his mind. Professor, he started again after a moment. The Sorting Hat told me I'd done well in Slytherin. Everyone thought I was Slytherin's heir for a while, because I could speak Parseltongue. You can speak Parseltongue, Harry, said Dumbledore calmly, because Lord Voldemort, who is the last remaining descendant of Salazar Slytherin, can speak Parseltongue. Unless I'm much mistaken, he transferred some of his own powers to you the night he gave you that scar. Not something he intended to do, I'm sure. Voldemort revealed himself in me, Harry said, thunderstruck. It certainly seems so. So I should be Slytherin, Harry said, looking desperately into Dumbledore's face. The Sorting Hat could see Slytherin's power in me, and it... Chewing Gryffindor, said Dumbledore. Listen to me, Harry. You happen to have so many qualities Salazar Slytherin prized in his hand-picked students. His own very gift. Parseltongue, resourceful, determination, a certain disregard for the rules, he added, his moustache quivering again. Yet the Sorting Hat placed you in Gryffindor. You know why that was? Think. They only put me in Gryffindor, said Harry in a defeated voice, because I asked them to go in Slytherin. Exactly, said Dumbledore, being honest. Which makes you very different from Gryffindor. It is our choices, Harry, that show us who we truly are, far more than our abilities. Harry sat motionless in his chair, stunned. If you want proof, Harry, you belong to Gryffindor. I suggest you look more closely at this. Dumbledore reached across to Professor McGonagall's desk, picked up a blood-stained silver sword, and handed it to Harry. Dully, Harry turned it over. Rubies blazed in the sun-lit firelight, and then he saw the name engraved just below the hilt. Roderick Gryffindor. Only a true Gryffindor could have pulled that out of the hand, Harry, said Dumbledore simply. For a moment, he rose and spoke, then Dumbledore pulled open one of the drawers of McGonagall's desk, took out a quill that was laying. What you need, Harry, is some food and sleep. I suggest you go down to the feast while I run to Azkaban. We need our gamekeeper back, and I must draft an advertisement for the Daily Prophet too, he added thoughtfully, walking in the new Defense Against Dark Arts teacher. Here, you seem to be running through them, don't you? Harry got up and crossed to the door. He just reached for the handle, however, and the door burst open so violently that it bounced back off the wall. Lucius Malfoy stood there, cheer upon his face, and cowering under his arm, heavily wrapped in bandages, was Dobby. Good evening, Lucius, said Dumbledore pleasantly. Mr. Malfoy almost knocked Harry over as he swept into the room, Dobby scurrying in after him, crouching in the hem of his cloak, a look of abject horror on his face. So, said Lucius Malfoy, his cold eyes fixed on Dumbledore, you've come back. The governor suspended you, and you still saw fit to return to Hogwarts. Well, you see, Lucius, said Dumbledore serenely. The other 11 governors contacted me today. It was something like being caught in a hailstorm of vows, to tell the truth. They heard that Arthur Weasley's daughter had been killed and wanted me back here at once. They seemed to think I was the best man for the job after all. Very strange tales they told me too. Several of them seemed to think that you had threatened to curse their families if they didn't agree to suspend me in the first place. Mr. Malfoy went even paler than usual, but his eyes were still slits of fury. So, have you stopped the attacks yet? He sneered. Had you caught the culprit? We have, said Dumbledore with a smile. Well, said Mr. Malfoy sharply, who is it? The same person as the last time, Lucius, said Dumbledore. But this time, Voldemort was acting through somebody else, by means of this diary. He held the small black book up, with a large hole through the centre, watching Mr. Malfoy closely. Harry, however, was watching Dobby. The elf was doing something very odd. His very eyes fixed meaningfully on Harry. He kept pointing at the diary, then at Mr. Malfoy, and hitting himself hard on the head with his fist. I see, said Mr. Malfoy slowly to Dumbledore. A clever plan, said Dumbledore in a low voice, still staring at Mr. Malfoy straight in the eye. Look at Harry here. Mr. Malfoy shot Harry a swift, sharp look, and his friend Ron hadn't discovered this book. Why, Ginny Weasley, I had taken all the blame. No one would ever have been able to prove he hadn't acted of her own free will. Mr. Malfoy said nothing. His face was somewhat mask-like, and imagine, Dumbledore went on, what might happen then? The Weasleys are one of the most prominent pure-blood families. Imagine the effect of Arthur Weasley and his Muggle Protection Act if his own daughter was discovered attacking and killing Muggleborns. Very fortunate the diary was discovered, and Riddle's memories wiped from it. Who knows what the consequences might have been otherwise? Mr. Malfoy forced himself to speak. Very fortunate, he said stiffly, and still, behind his back, Dobby was pointing, first to the diary, then to Lucius Malfoy, then punching himself in the head. And Harry suddenly understood. He nodded at Dobby. Dobby backed into a corner, out was being feared punishment. Don't you want to know how Ginny got hold of that diary, Mr. Malfoy? Said Harry. Lucius Malfoy nodded. How should I know how that stupid little girl got hold of it? He said. Because you gave it to her, said Harry, in flourishing blows. You picked up an old Transfiguration book and slipped the diary inside it, didn't you? I saw Mr. Malfoy's white hands clench and unclench. Yes. Oh, you don't want to be able to do that, said Dumbledore, smiling at Harry. Not now Riddle has vanished from the book. On the other hand, I would advise you, Lucius, not to go giving out any more of Voldemort's old school things. If any more of them find their way into innocent hands, I think Arthur Weasley, for one, will make sure they are traced back to you. Lucius Malfoy stood for a moment, and Harry
You
was singing
stupid piece.
right hand, as though for long for his wand. Instead,
The other way, Michael Jackson.
You go, Dobby. He wrenched open the door. The elf came hurrying up to him. He kicked him right through it. They could hear Dobby squealing with pain.
Jesus. All that for 1 star? Here, I'll pull in you.
And it came to him. Miss Dumbledore, he said hurriedly. Can I give that diary back to Mr. Malfoy, please? Certainly, Harry, said Dumbledore. Hey, hurry. The feast, remember? Harry grabbed the diary and dashed out the office. He could hear Dobby's squeals of pain receding round the corner. Quickly wondering if this plan could possibly work, Harry took off one of his shoes, pulled off his slimy, filthy sock, and stuffed the diary.
What the fuck is this slime?
Then he ran down the dark corridor. He caught up with him at the top of the stairs. Mr. Malfoy, he gasped, giving to a halt. I've got something for you. And he forced a smelly sock into Lucius Malfoy's hand. What the? Mr. Malfoy ripped the sock off the diary, threw it aside, then looked furiously from the ruined book to Harry. You'll meet the same sticky end as your parents one of these days, Harry Potter, he said softly. They were meddlesome fools too. He turned to go. Come, Dobby. I said come. But Dobby didn't move. He was holding up Harry's disgusting slimy sock and looking at it as though it was a priceless treasure. Master has given Dobby a sock, said the elf in wonderment. Master gave it to Dobby. What's that? Spat Mr. Malfoy. What did you say? Dobby has got a sock, said Dobby in disbelief. Master threw it, and Dobby caught it. And Dobby is free. Lucius Malfoy stood frozen, staring at the elf. Then he lunged at Harry. You've lost me my servant, boy. But Dobby shouted, You shall not harm Harry Potter. There was a loud bang, and Mr. Malfoy was thrown backwards. He thrashed down the stairs, 3 at a time, landing in a crumpled heap on the landing below.
Oh, Jackson, how are we getting?
His face livid, pulled out his wand. But Dobby raised his long, threatening finger. You shall go now, he said fiercely, pointing down at Mr. Malfoy. You shall not touch Harry Potter. You shall go now. Lucius Malfoy had no choice. From a last incensed stare at the pair of them, he swung his cloak around him and hurried out of sight. Harry Potter freed Dobby, said the elf shrilly, gazing up at Harry, moonlight from the nearest window reflecting in his all-black eyes. Harry Potter set Dobby free. Least I could do, Dobby, said Harry, grinning. Just promise never to try and save my life again. The elf's ugly brown face split suddenly into a wide, toothy smile. I've just got one question, Dobby, said Harry, as Dobby pulled on Harry's sock with shaking hands. You told me all this had nothing to do with people who must not be named, remember? Well, there was a clue, sir, said Dobby, his eyes widening, as though it was obvious. Dobby was giving you a clue. The Dark Lord, before he changed his name, could be freely named, you see. Right, said Harry weakly. Well, I'd better go. There's a feast, and my friend Hermione should be awake by now. Dobby threw his arms around Harry's middle and hugged him. Harry Potter is greater by far than Dobby knew, he sobbed. Farewell, Harry Potter. And with a final loud crack, Dobby disappeared. Harry had been to several Hogwarts feasts, but none quite like this. Everybody was in their pajamas, and celebrations lasted all night. Harry didn't know whether the best bit was Hermione running towards him screaming, You solved it! You solved it! Or Justin running over from the Hufflepuff table to wring his hands and apologise endlessly for suspecting him. Or Hagrid turning up at 3:30, cupping Harry and Ron so hard on the shoulders that they were knocked to their plates of trifle. Or his and Ron's 400 points securing Gryffindor the House Cup for the 2nd year running. Or Professor McGonagall standing up to tell them all that the exams had been cancelled as a school treat. Oh no, said Hermione. Or Dumbledore announcing that, unfortunately, Professor Lockhart would be unable to return next year, owing to the fact that he needed to go away and get his memory back. Quite a few of the teachers joined in cheering and greeted this news. Shame, said Ron, helping himself to a jam donut. He was starting to grow on me. The rest of the summer term passed in a haze of blazing sunshine. Hogwarts was back to normal, with only a few small differences. Defense against the dark arts classes were cancelled, but we've had plenty of time to practice at that anyway, Ron told a disgruntled Hermione. And Lucius Malfoy had been sacked as a school governor. Draco was no longer strutting around the school as though he owned the place. On the contrary, he looked resentful and sulky. On the other hand, Ginny Weasley was perfectly happy again. Too soon it was time for the journey home on the Hogwarts Express. Harry, Ron, Hermione, Fred, George and Ginny got a compartment to themselves. They made the most of the last few hours in which they were allowed to do magic before the holidays. They played Exploding Snap, set off the very last of Fred and George's filibuster fireworks, and practiced disarming each other by magic. Harry was getting very good at it. They were almost to King's Cross when Harry remembered something. Ginny, what did you see Percy doing that he didn't want you to tell anyone? Oh, that, said Ginny, giggling. Well, Percy got a girlfriend. Fred dropped a stack of books on George's head. What? It's her Ravenclaw prefect, Penelope Clearwater, said Ginny. That's who he was writing to all last summer. He's been meeting her all over the school in secret. I walked in on them kissing in an empty classroom one day. He was so upset that she was, attacked. You won't tease him, will you? She added anxiously. Wouldn't dream of it, said Fred, who was looking as if his birthday had come early. Definitely not, said George, sniggering. The Hogwarts Express slowly stopped. Harry pulled out his quill and a bit of parchment and turned to Ron and Hermione. This is called a telephone number, he told Ron, scribbling it twice, tearing the parchment in two and handing it to them. I told your dad how to use a telephone last summer. He'll know. Call me at the Dursleys, okay? I can't stand another 2 months with only Dudley to talk to. Your aunt and uncle will be proud though, won't they? Said Hermione, as they got off the train and joined the crowd thronging towards the enchanted barrier. When they hear what you did this year. Well, said Harry, are you mad? All those times I could have died and I didn't manage it. They'll be furious. And together, they walk back through the gateway to the Muggle world. The end.
Say hello.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Chapter 1, Outpost. Harry Potter was a highly unusual boy in many ways. For one thing, he hated the summer holidays more than any other time of the year. For another, he really wanted to do his homework, but was forced to do it in secret, in the dead of night. And he also happened to be a wizard. It was nearly midnight, and he was lying on his front in bed, the blankets drawn right over his head like a tent, a torch in one hand, and a large leather-bound book, The History of Magic by Bathilda Bagshot, propped open against the pillow. Harry moved the tip of his evil feathered quill down the page. Frowning, he looked for something that would help him write his essay. Witch burning in the 14th century was completely pointless. Discuss, the quill paused at the top of a likely-looking paragraph. Harry pushed his round glasses up his nose, moved his torch closer to the book, and read, "Non-magic people, more commonly known as muggles, were particularly afraid of magic in medieval times, but not very good at recognizing it. On a rare occasion, they did catch a real witch or wizard. Burning had no effect whatsoever. The witch or wizard would perform a basic flame-freezing charm, and then pretend to shriek with pain, while enjoying a gentle, tickling sensation. Indeed, Gwendolyn the Weird enjoyed being burned so much that she allowed herself to be caught no fewer than 47 times in various disguises." Harry put his quill between his teeth and reached underneath his pillow for his ink bottle and a roll of parchment. Slowly and very carefully, he unscrewed the ink bottle, dipped his quill into it, and began to write, pausing every now and then to listen, because if any of the Dursleys heard the scratching of his quill on their way to the bathroom, he'd probably find himself locked in the cupboard under the stairs for the rest of the summer. The Dursleys' family of number 4, River Drive, was the reason that Harry never enjoyed his summer holidays. Uncle Vernon, Aunt Petunia, and their son Dudley were Harry's only living relatives. They were muggles, and they had a very medieval attitude towards magic. Harry's dead parents, who had been a witch and wizard themselves, were never mentioned under the Dursleys' roof. For years, Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon hoped that if Harry kept quiet, as downtrodden as possible, they would be able to squash the magic out of him. To their fury, they had been unsuccessful, and now lived in terror of anyone finding out that Harry had spent most of the last 2 years at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The most the Dursleys could do these days was to lock away Harry's spellbooks, wand, cauldron, and broomstick at the start of the summer holidays, and forbid him to talk to the neighbours. This separation from his spellbooks had been a real problem for Harry, because his teachers at Hogwarts had given him a lot of holiday work. One of the essays, a particularly nasty one about shrinking potions, was for Harry's least favourite teacher, Professor Snape, who would be delighted to have an excuse to give Harry detention for a month. Harry had therefore seized his chance in the first week of the holidays, while Uncle Vernon, Aunt Petunia, and Dudley had gone out into the front garden to admire Uncle Vernon's new company car, in very loud voices, so the rest of the street would notice it too. Harry had crept downstairs, picked the lock on the cupboard under the stairs, grabbed some of his books and hidden them in his bedroom. As long as he didn't leave spots of ink on the sheets, the Dursleys need never know that he was studying magic by night. Harry was keen to avoid trouble with his aunt and uncle at the moment, as they were already in a bad mood with him, all because he had received a telephone call from a fellow wizard 1 week into the school holidays. Ron Weasley, who was one of Harry's best friends at Hogwarts, came from a whole family of wizards. This meant that he knew a lot of things Harry didn't, but had never used a telephone before. Most unluckily, it had been Uncle Vernon who had answered the call. Vernon Dursley speaking. Harry, who happened to be in the room at the time, froze as he heard Ron's voice answer. "Hello? Hello, can you hear me? I want to talk to Harry Potter." Ron was yelling so loudly that Uncle Vernon jumped and held the receiver a foot away from his ear, staring at it with an expression of mingled fury and alarm. "Who is this?" he roared in the direction of the mouthpiece. "Who are you?" "Ron Weasley," Ron bellowed back, as though he and Uncle Vernon were speaking from opposite ends of the football pitch. "I'm a friend of Harry's from school." Uncle Vernon's small eyes swiveled round to Harry, who was rooted to the spot. There is no Harry Potter here, he roared, now holding the receiver at arm's length, as though frightened it might explode. I don't know what school you're talking about. Never contact me again. Don't you come near my family. And he threw the receiver back onto the telephone as it
You
dropped
stupid
into the slide.
motherfucker.
The row that followed had been one of the worst ever. How dare you give this number to people like that? People like you. Uncle Vernon roared, spraying Harry with spit. Ron obviously realized that he got Harry into trouble, because he hadn't called again. Harry's other best friend from Hogwarts, Hermione Granger, hadn't been in touch either. Harry suspected that Ron had warned Hermione not to call, which was a pity, because Hermione, the cleverest witch in Harry's year, had muggle parents, knew perfectly well how to use a telephone, and would probably have had enough sense not to say that she went to Hogwarts. So Harry had had no word from any of his Wizarding friends for 5 long weeks, and this summer was turning out to be almost as bad as the last one. There was just one very small improvement. After swearing that he wouldn't use it to send letters to any of his friends, Harry had been allowed to let his owl, Hedwig, out at night. Uncle Vernon had given in, because of the racket Hedwig made if she was locked in her cage all the time. Harry finished writing about Wendling the Weird and paused to listen again. The silence in the dark house was broken only by the distant, grunting snores of his enormous cousin, Dudley. It must be very late. Harry's eyes were itching with tiredness. Perhaps he'd finish his essay tomorrow night. He replaced the top of the ink bottle, pulled an old pillowcase from under his bed, put the torch, a history of magic, his essay, quill and ink inside it, got out of bed and hid the lot under a loose floorboard under his bed. Then he stood up, stretched, and checked the time on his luminous alarm clock on his bedside table. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. Harry's stomach gave a funny jolt. He had been 13 years old without realizing it, for a whole hour. Yet another unusual thing about Harry was how little he looked forward to his birthdays. He never received a birthday card in his life. Dursley had completely ignored his last 2 birthdays, and he had no reason to suppose they would remember this one.
Make 30,000.
But Hedwig's large
I'm gonna collect that money when it started.
He leant on the sill, the cool night air pleasant on his face after a long time under his blankets. Hedwig had been absent for 2 nights now. Harry wasn't worried about her. She'd been gone this long before, but he hoped she'd be back soon. She was the only living creature in this house who didn't flinch at the sight of him. Harry, though still rather small and skinny for his age, had grown a few inches over the last year. His jet black hair, however, was just as it always had been, stubbornly untidy. Whatever he did to it, the eyes behind his glasses were bright green, and on his forehead, clearly visible through his hair, was a thin scar shaped like a bolt of lightning. Of all the unusual things about Harry, this scar was the most extraordinary of all. It was not, as the Dursleys had pretended for 10 years, a souvenir of the car crash that had killed Harry's parents, because Lily and James Potter had not died in the car crash. They had been murdered by the most feared dark wizard for 100 years, Lord Voldemort. Harry had escaped from the same attack without nothing more than a scar on his forehead, when Voldemort's curse, instead of killing him, had rebounded upon its originator. Barely alive, Voldemort had fled, but Harry had come face to face with him since at Hogwarts. Remembering their last meeting as he stood at the dark window, Harry had to admit he was lucky even to have reached this
And then get the fuck out of the way.
He scanned the starry sky for a sign of Hedwig, perhaps soaring back to him with a dead mouse dangling from a beak, expecting praise, gazing absently over the rooftops. It was a few seconds before Harry realized what he was seeing. Silhouetted against the golden moon, and growing larger every moment, was a large, strangely lopsided creature, and it was flapping in Harry's direction. He stood quite still, watching it sinking lower and lower. For a split second, he hesitated, his hand on the window latch, wondering whether to slam it shut. But then the bizarre creature soared over one of the street lamps of Privet Drive, and Harry, realizing what it was, leapt aside. Through the window soared 3 owls, 2 of them holding up the third, which appeared to be unconscious. They landed with a soft plump onto Harry's bed, and the middle owl, which was large and grey, keeled right over and lay motionless. There was a large package tied to its legs.
IRS e-file is now open. Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest refund. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit.
Package tied to its legs. Harry recognized the unconscious owl at once. His name was Errol, and he belonged to the Weasley family. Harry dashed to the bed at once, untied the cords around Errol's legs, took off the parcel, and then carried Errol to Hedwig's cage. Errol opened one bleary eye, gave a feeble hoot of thanks, and began to gulp some water. Harry turned back to the remaining owls. One of them, a large snowy female, was his own, Hedwig. She too was carrying a parcel, and looked extremely pleased with herself. She gave Harry an affectionate nip with her beak as he removed her burden, then flew across the room to join Errol. Harry didn't recognize the bird owl, a handsome tawny one, but he knew at once where it had come from, because in addition to the third parcel, it was carrying a letter bearing the Hogwarts crest. When Harry relieved this owl of its post, it ruffled its feathers importantly, stretched its wings, and took off through the window into the night. Harry sat down on his bed, grabbed Errol's package, ripped off the brown paper, and discovered a present wrapped in gold, and his first ever birthday card. Fingers trembling slightly, he opened the envelope. 2 pieces of paper fell out, a letter and a newspaper cutting. The cutting had clearly come out of the Wizarding paper, the Daily Prophet, because the people in the black and white picture were moving. Harry picked up the cutting, smoothed it out, and read, Ministry of Magic employee scooped grand prize. Arthur Weasley, head of the misuse of Muggle artifacts, office at the Ministry of Magic, has won the annual Daily Prophet Grand Prize Galleon draw. A delighted Mr. Weasley told the Daily Prophet, we'll be spending the gold on a summer holiday in Egypt, where our eldest son Bill works as a curse breaker for Gringotts Wizarding Bank. The Weasley family will be spending a month in Egypt, returning for the start of the new school year at Hogwarts, which 5 of the Weasley children currently attend. Harry scanned the moving photograph, and a grin spread across his face as he saw all 9 of the Weasleys waving furiously at him. Standing in front of a large pyramid, plump little Miss Weasley, tall, balding Mr. Weasley, 6 sons and 1 daughter, tall, though the black and white picture didn't show it, with flaming red hair. Right in the middle of the picture was Ron, tall and gangly, with his pet rat Scabbers on his shoulder, and his arm around his little sister Ginny. Harry couldn't think of anyone who deserved to win a large pile of gold more than the Weasleys, who were very nice and extremely poor. He picked up Ron's letter and unfolded it. Dear Harry, happy birthday. Look, I'm really sorry about that phone call. I hope the Muggles didn't give you a hard time. I asked Dad, and he reckons I shouldn't have shouted. It's brilliant here in Egypt. Bill's taken us around all the tombs, and you wouldn't believe the curses those old Egyptian wizards put on. Mug wouldn't let Ginny in the last one. There were all these mutant skeletons in there, of Muggles who'd broken in and grown extra heads and stuff. I couldn't believe it when Dad won the Daily Prophet draw. 700 galleons. Most of it's gone this holiday, but they're going to buy me a new wand for next year.
Thank God.
Harry remembered only too well the occasion when Ron's old wand had snapped. It had happened when the car the 2 of them had been flying to Hogwarts and crashed into a tree in the school grounds. We'll be back about a week before term starts, and we'll be going up to London to get my wand and our new books. Any chance of meeting you there? Don't let the Muggles get you down. Try and come to London. Ron. P.S. Percy's head boy. He got a letter last week. Harry glanced back at the photograph. Percy, who was in his 7th and final year at Hogwarts, was looking particularly smug. He had pinned his head forward to the fez perched jauntily on top of his blue hair. His horn-rimmed glasses flashing in the Egyptian sun. Harry now turned to his present and unwrapped it. Inside was what looked like a miniature glass spinning top. There was another note from Ron underneath it. Harry, this is a pocket sneakoscope. If there's someone untrustworthy around, it's supposed to light up and spin. Bill says it's rubbish, sold for wizard tourists and isn't reliable, because it kept lighting up at his dinner last night. But he didn't realise Fred and George had put beetles in his soup. Bye, Ron. Harry put the pocket sneakoscope on his bedside table, where it stood quite still, balanced on its point, reflecting the luminous hand of his clock. He looked at it happily for a few seconds, then picked up the parcel Hedwig had brought. Inside this, too, there was a wrapped present, a card, and a letter, this time from Hermione. Dear Harry, Ron wrote to me and told me about his phone call to your Uncle Vernon. I do hope you're alright. I'm on holiday in France at the moment, and I didn't know how I was going to send this to you. What if they opened it at customs? Then Hedwig turned up. I think she wanted to make sure you got something for your birthday for a change.
God damn.
I bought your present by our order. There was an advertisement in the Daily Prophet. I've been getting it delivered. It's so good to keep up with what's going on in the wizarding world. Did you see that picture of Ronnie's family a week ago? I bet he's learning loads. I'm really jealous. The ancient linguistics are fascinating. There's some interesting local history of witchcraft here too. I've rewritten my whole history of magic essay to include some of the things I found out. I hope it's not too long. It's 2 rolls of parchment more than Professor Binns asked for. Ron says he's going to be in London the last week of the holidays. Can you make it?
When exploring new credit cards, you should know what you're getting into. With hundreds of offers, Credit Karma curates relevant options for you and shows you approval odds, so it's easier to find your way to the right card for you. It's with Credit Karma.
You'll have to repair.
Speak of the holidays, can you make it? Will your aunt and uncle let you come? I really hope you can. If not, I'll see you on the Hogwarts Express on September the 1st. Love from Hermione. P.S. Ron says Percy's head boy. I'll bet Percy's really pleased. Ron doesn't seem too happy about it. Harry laughed again as he put Hermione's letter aside and picked up her present. It was very heavy. Knowing Hermione, he was sure it would be a large book full of very difficult spells, but it wasn't. His heart gave a huge bound as he ripped back the paper and saw a sleek black leather case with silver words stamped across it. Broomstick Servicing Kit. Wow, Hermione, Harry whispered, unzipping the case to look inside. There was a large jar of Fleetwood's high-finish handle polish, a pair of gleaming silver tail twig clippers, a tiny brass compass to clip onto your broom for long journeys, and a handbook of do-it-yourself broom care. Apart from his friends, the thing that Harry missed the most about Hogwarts was Quidditch, the most popular sport in the magical world. Highly dangerous, very exciting, and played on broomsticks. Harry happened to be a very good Quidditch player. He had been the youngest person in a century to be picked for one of the Hogwarts house teams. One of Harry's most prized possessions was his Nimbus 2000 racing broom. Harry put the leather case aside, picked up his last parcel. He recognized the untidy scrawl on the brown paper at once. This was from Hagrid, the Hogwarts gamekeeper. He tore off the top layer of paper and glimpsed something green and leathery. But before he could unwrap it properly, the parcel gave a strange quiver, and whatever was inside it snapped loudly, as though it had jaws. Harry froze. He knew that Hagrid would never have sent him anything dangerous on purpose. But then, Hagrid didn't have a normal person's view of what was dangerous. Hagrid had been known to befriend giant spiders, buy vicious, free-headed dogs from men in pubs, and sneak illegal dragon eggs into his cabin. Harry poked the parcel nervously. It snapped loudly again. Harry reached for the lamp on his bedside table, gripped it firmly in one hand, and raised it over his head, ready to strike. Then he seized the rest of the wrapping paper in his other hand and pulled. And out fell a book. Harry just had time to register its handsome green cover, emblazoned with the golden title, The Monster Book of Monsters, before it flipped onto its edge and scuttled sideways along the bed like some weird crab. Uh-oh, Harry muttered. The book toppled off the bed with a loud clunk and shuffled rapidly across the room. Harry followed it stealthily. The book was hiding in a dark space under his desk. Praying that the Dursleys were still fast asleep, Harry got down on his hands and knees and reached towards it. Ouch! The book snapped shut on his hand and then flapped past him, still scuffling on its covers. Harry scrambled around, threw himself forward and managed to flatten it. Uncle Vernon gave a loud, sleepy grunt in the room next door. Hedwig and Errol watched interestedly as Harry clamped the struggling book tightly in his arms, hurried to his chest of drawers and pulled out a belt, which he buckled tightly around it. The monster book shuddered angrily, but could no longer flap and snap, so Harry threw it down on the bed and reached for Hagrid's card. Dear Harry, happy birthday. Think you might find this useful for next year. Won't say no more here. Tell you when I see you. Hope the muggles are treating you right. All the best, Hagrid. It struck Harry as ominous that Hagrid thought a biting book would come in useful, but he put up Hagrid's card next to Ron and Hermione's, grinning more broadly than ever. Now there was only the letter from Hogwarts left. Noticing that it was rather thicker than usual, Harry slit open the envelope, pulled out the first page of parchment within, and read, "Dear Mr. Potter, please note that the new school year will begin on September the 1st. The Hogwarts Express will leave from King's Cross Station, platform 9 3/4, at 11 o'clock. Third years are permitted to visit the village of Hogsmeade at certain weekends. Please give the enclosed permission form to your parent or guardian to sign. A list of books for your next year is enclosed. Yours sincerely, Professor M. McGonagall, Deputy Headmistress." Harry pulled out the Hogsmeade permission form and looked at it, no longer grinning. It'd be wonderful to visit Hogsmeade at the weekend. He knew it was an entirely wizarding village, and he had never set foot there. But how on earth was he going to persuade Uncle Vernon or Aunt Petunia to sign the form? He looked over at the alarm clock. It was now 2 o'clock in the morning, deciding that he'd worry about the Hogsmeade form when he woke up. Harry got back into bed and reached up to cross off another day on the chart he had made for himself, counting down the days until his return to Hogwarts. Then he took off his glasses and laid down, eyes open, facing his 3 birthday cards. Extremely unusual though he was, at that moment Harry Potter felt just like everyone else, glad, for the first time in his life, that it was his birthday.
Find the best time to get away with flexible date search. Hotels.com.
I didn't think clean eating could ever be this delicious. So good. We factor to get nutritious meals that I already know are good for me. They are prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians. So good.
It's delicious.
I can't believe I got this restaurant quality meal in minutes. Finally found the food pack to make this a special. Fact and food.
That it was his birthday.
Alright, after we collect all this, we're going to have to stop this video.
Big mistake. Harry went downstairs to breakfast next morning, finding the 3 Dursleys already sitting around the kitchen table. They were watching a brand new television, a welcome home for the summer present from Dudley, who had been complaining loudly about the long walk between the fridge and the television in the living room. Dudley had spent most of last summer in the kitchen, his piggy little blue eyes fixed on the screen, and his 5 chins wobbling as he ate continually. Harry sat down between Dudley and Uncle Vernon, a large, beefy man with very little neck and a lot of moustache. Far from wishing Harry a happy birthday, none of the Dursleys gave any sign that they had noticed Harry enter the room, but Harry was far too used to this to care. He helped himself to a piece of toast, then looked up at the newsreader on the television. It was halfway through a report on an escaped convict. The public is warned that Black is armed and extremely dangerous. A special hotline has been set up, and any sighting of Black should be reported immediately. "No need to tell us he's no good," snorted Uncle Vernon, staring over the top of his newspaper at the prisoner. "Look at the state of him, the filthy layabout. Look at his hair." He shot a nasty look sideways at Harry, whose untidy hair had always been a source of great annoyance to Uncle Vernon. Compared to the man on the television, however, his gaunt face was surrounded by a matted, elbow-length tangle. Harry felt very well groomed indeed. The newsreader reappeared. "The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries will announce today." "Hang on," barked Uncle Vernon, staring furiously at the newsreader. "You didn't tell us where the maniacs escaped from. What use is that? Lunatic could be coming up the street right now." Aunt Petunia, who was bony and horse-faced, whipped around and peered intently out of the kitchen window. Harry knew Aunt Petunia would simply love to be the one to call the hotline number. She was the nosiest woman in the world and spent most of her life spying on her boring, law-abiding neighbours. "When will they learn," said Uncle Vernon, pounding the table with his large purple fist, "that hanging's the only way to deal with these people?" "Very true," said Aunt Petunia, who was still squinting into next door